We got a lot to unpack. First, we're going to talk about Jamal Bryant. Let me give my disclaimer. Fair Use Copyright Act. This is not my materials for commentary, educational purposes, and broadcasting. Okay. We're going to talk about Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant inherited New Birth Church in Georgia after Bishop Eddie Long. I'm going to let you dwell on that for a minute. He was mentored by Bishop Eddie Long. Okay. Jamal Bryant says that the church has so much property that he wants to sell weed and grow weed and teach the young guys in the community how to grow weed. He said he's looking for young people that smell like weed so he can have them sell weed. And this is the pastor of one of the largest churches in Georgia. Okay, let's think about this. First, Jamal Bryant went through all of that ratchetness as a pastor. I'm like, what's wrong with New Birth Church? After Eddie Long, now Jamal Bryant, you had one that was messing with boys. You got another pastor that wants to turn a church into a weed house. You think I'm lying? You got to hear it for yourself. Let's find him. Let's find him. Jamal Bryant, come to the front of the congregation. Jamal Bryant, come to the front of the congregation. We got to find him. Ask him why he want to sell weed in the church. Okay. I'm gonna go with this one because so many people blog them. So I'm gonna do some reactionaries first. We're gonna do these reactionaries.
The Seattle Seahawks have a winning strategy for remaining a top performing.
This is outrageous. This is your pastor.
Yet they do them anyway.
This is your pastor.
They encourage others to do them
too. New Birth after Eddie Long. Really?
So I'm gonna play this, and then we're gonna talk about it because
I want y'all to look at Jamal Bryant. Look what he finna say.
The church is not relatable to our generation and down. So imagine when I was growing up, they were telling you don't have your phone on in church. I'm telling y'all, turn your phone on, take a selfie, use hashtag New Birth Now, so that we can move forward. Society, Rashawn, changes every 4 years, but church culture changes every 4 years, but church culture changes every 20. Ooh. So the average church is 15 years behind schedule.
So we're gonna stick a pin in this. The Bible and the structure of the church changes every 20 years according to the pastor at New Birth Church, right? So if Jesus was born 2,000 years ago, Yeshua was born 2,000 years ago. So in 2,000 years, how many 20-year periods has there been for the church to be changing and flipping over? Listen to this double talking dude down there, man. New Birth, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all, that's a den of thieves. That's Satanism.
So those of you who watching, your church is so proud to be on Facebook.
Now you're talking about other churches because they're not selling weed.
TikTok. They are. They stopped being on Facebook when their mother tried to friend them. So you got to figure out, how am I relevant and how do I repackage? So I understand you are spiritual is what you want to call it, because we don't have a terminology of how do I love God when I hate the church. And can I love him without hating the politics of church? And so churches blew up in the pandemic and they're not doing their due diligence. Why? They grew up because we went virtual. So now I can go to church and I ain't got to worry about being judged by what I got on. Right. Oh, listen very closely to what he's about to say. This is not even the worst part, but just listen to what he's about to say. Now I can go to church and you ain't going to judge me because of my tattoos, because of my piercings, or because I have a same-sex lover. Yes. So you got to ask yourself, why is the church?
He just said, now we're not even going to talk about the same sexness of it. But he didn't even say spouse or man or wife. He just said that two same-sex people that's actively having sex and not married, the church is welcoming them now. Come on now. We're changing the church. We're changing the 10 Commandments. We're changing the Bible. We're changing everything for modern times. And we need to get this bag. Check out Jamal Bryant. Horrible.
Not saying nothing about Brittany Garner.
All right, he said a lot right there. I've talked about this before, but Pastor Jamal Bryant was a big supporter of Raphael Warnock, who ultimately won the election for governor. I believe it was for governor. Was it governor or Senate? Hold on. But essentially, Raphael Warnock is also a pastor out of Georgia who is pro-choice for Senate. I'm sorry. So Jamal Bryant talked about this previously. He is a supporter of Raphael Warnock, who is now the senator. He was running against Herschel Walker. Raphael Warnock, pro-choice, pro-LGBTQ, and Raphael Warnock, he's also a pastor as well. But you know the community I'm talking about, the community that is so proud of that sin. Do I hate them? I don't hate them, but I can't come into agreement with that sin. I can't come into agreement with any sin. So the fact that the fact that Jamal Bryant is doubling down, and I know why he's doing it. He wants to attract new people to his church, obviously. He wants to grow and expand. He wants to reach people who are not currently in the church. I get that. That should be the goal, but we shouldn't compromise our beliefs and compromise the gospel, compromise what sin is in order for us to reach a new demographic. But this is continuing to happen. But just keep listening because it gets worse. It gets juicier, right?
Right?
Yeah.
They stuck in the same place.
Because she's black and she's gay.
Okay. And what I said, I was in South Carolina 2 days ago. I said, I don't want to hear that argument. You can't support Black Lives Matter because they were pushed by the LGBT community. Then why did you support the March on Washington?
On March 9th, 2022, our commander-in-chief signed an executive order that aims to give Washington a lease nearly.
March on Washington was not Dr. King's march. He was a speaker. The organizer was a black man. And y'all got on all these buses from all these Baptist churches and supported it. Let's do the exact same thing. And so I think that the black churches got to have a real come to Jesus meeting and get into the 21st century. I got up, Rashawn, after the Supreme Court ruling about that New Birth and me are pro-choice because Jesus is. He said, behold, I said,
New Birth. Your pastor just said that Jesus was for abortion. Look how weird New Birth Church is after Eddie Long and what Eddie Long went through with them young males and young men when he was a bishop. And now he's coming out changing the whole dynamic of the church orientation. Can you not see the demonicness in this Democratic pastor? Democracy is Democrat. Can you not see black people that these pastors are making you unacceptable to God? Flat out. That's their aim. They are working with Satan. And I'm telling you, how you gonna sell weed? All the rules is over now. The church is dope house.
Let me in. That's pro-choice. God in the Garden of Eden said to Adam and Eve, all of these trees are available to you. I want you to pick those. I'm not putting this other tree behind barbed wire and the ADT alarm. Don't eat it, but that's your choice.
Yes.
Christianity in and to itself is pro-choice. But we don't say anything because of
what about law, commandments, and ordinance from God? It is not about choice. He's right in front of the world. This dude, this Eddie Long groomed guy that can't even be faithful to his wife, less known a church, is telling his congregation in Georgia that they're going to sell weed, and he's looking for young guys who smell like weed to come to his church so they can grow weed. Now, I'm from the streets. I'm from the hood. Everybody with a bag of weed, a pound, is under threat of being robbed, killed. Weed is still a controlled substance, and people still get down for it, especially young black people. I had a homeboy I was going to college with, and he bought onto this idea that he was going to grow weed because they made it legal, and he sold them a couple little bit of weed, and then guess what? The guys he was selling weed to came over and robbed him, killed him while his wife was upstairs. A little guy in the community was always out there selling weed. Guess what? One night somebody called him for a bag of weed and killed him. All this is recent stuff. All this is going on around the country, and you got a pastor saying he wants to sell weed and grow weed. That's his answer.
A lot of black churches are white evangelicals in drag, and they don't know who it is that they are because their politics are thrown off and don't really speak to you. Okay,
I'm good. I'm fine.
don't really speak to what's happening in the culture.
All right.
I'm gonna let him talk to this. Now he listen to this. This is a pastor talking about culture. He's talking about weed, mollies, Percocets, drill music, gun violence, switches, Dragos, murder, kidnapping, and exploitation of black people as culture. And his solution is that let the church take over the weed business. Because Jesus said pro-choice, everything. He's changing it.
Listen, Pastor Jamal Bryant, he just used Adam and Eve, their defiance, them rebelling against God and going against what God told them to do. God said, you can eat of any fruit of this garden. And God does give us a choice. He's correct. God does give us a choice. But God is very clear about sin. He says you can eat of any fruit of this garden, but not that one. Not that one. Everything else, you're straight. Everything else, you're good. But just don't eat that one.
Enough of this, Jamal.
That example
Enough of this with Jamal Bryant, because I'm gonna put this in the community section, and you can actually look on YouTube and see what he's saying about selling weed, see what he's saying about Jesus was pro-choice and all these things that he's using to undermine Christian doctrine. I'm not even a Christian and outraged about how he's trying to change doctrine and take it in a manner that goes against nature, God, and every other righteous thing that was a part of black normalcy. Black people have always been conservative in their domestic situations and in their communities. But it's pastors like him. I'm gonna get off him because his personality is too incendiary, especially after coming from Eddie Long and what Eddie Long did down there with that church. New Birth Church. Man, for real. I don't know why y'all even call it a church. Y'all pastor is the weed, is the dope man. And he pro-abortion and he pro everything that God said go is not. Now we're gonna hit a sellout. We're gonna get to the sellout because we already got to the den of thieves. We got Van Jones now of the Democratic Party, so-called black leaders. Check him out. Check him out. Apologizing for the whole black community is what he's doing. Who made him the leader of black people? He ain't apologizing to me because I don't give a damn what Kanye said about them people.
Ladies and gentlemen, Van Jones is about as fake as this $100 bill
I agree.
You see on your screen right now. Now, his fake and fraudulent behavior is something that I've discussed on this channel once before. So what I'd like to do to drive this point home is play a segment of a video I released a few months back titled How Charlemagne and Van Jones Plan to Keep Black Americans Voting Blue Despite Joe Biden Failing Them. And after this clip, we'll get back into the discussion. Now, Van Jones is about as fake as they come. Just look at him in the Oval Office with Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner. He is so happy to be with the Trump family. This man is smiling from ear to ear. Look at him cheesing when Trump gave him the pen that he used to sign the criminal justice reform bill. He was so happy. Better yet, I'll even show you the video. But before I do that, just picture this in your mind for a moment. Have you ever been at a kid's party where there's a clown performing or just some sort of live entertainment where the clown and or the entertainer looks at the crowd of kids and says, "Hey, which one of you wants a prize?" And all of the kids raise their hands up high in the air, screaming out, "Me, me, me." That was Van Jones in this video I'm about to show you.
Just said, sir, there's a vote going on in the Senate, and I haven't missed a vote since 1993. Is that right? Get out of here. No. I've been here 3 hours waiting. They'll hold that vote open for us. That's great, Jeff. Worth the wait.
I want to get to the part.
Here,
Listen, look at it.
immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's gonna be happy to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason.
When you watch him, don't you feel like Killmonger in Black Panther? Is this your leader? Is this your leader? Let's continue in my Killmonger voice.
This is vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, I can't breathe.
But mind you, I just showed you how he was at the party and the event with Trump and just as happy as a lark sitting with Ivanka Trump and all of them. Now that the tide done switched, he's somebody else. Is this your leader? Is this one of y'all leaders?
You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt they couldn't breathe.
I mean, seriously, can you be?
Not me. I always was breathing. You know how you gonna know when I can't breathe? You'll see me dead because I'm not breathing. Listen to all this double talk.
Any more fake? But this is who Black folks listen to. So, like I stated, you can't get any more faker than Van Jones. He is a man who transforms himself into whoever he needs to be in the present moment
Of whoever
to
he
please
around.
whoever he's around. And recently, while attending the UJA's Wall Street Dinner 2022, Van Jones took it upon himself to apologize to the entire Jewish community on behalf of Black America in embarrassment of Black America's silence on Kanye West. Yes, you heard me correctly. So now let's get into this article titled Van Jones to Jewish Group. I apologize for the silence of my community on Kanye West. Van Jones apologized on behalf of the Black community for their silence over Kanye West's recent praise of.
Can y'all see the thing? Look at all the other videos that I've been showing you, all the reactionary videos I've been showing you. What is coming out of these people's mouth and what they're doing? These people are selling out the Black community for the bag. They want to get the bag and get as far away from O Block and ATL as they possibly can with the money while the rest of the community is purged. Can't you see that? Why would Jamal Bryant with all, I mean, he just comes out so blatantly to these so-called followers and tell them that now the church is going to become drug dealers. And we finna become gender neutral. Atlanta, y'all got a problem. Y'all thought Houston had a problem. Y'all have a problem. This man was groomed by Eddie Long, and I know y'all remember what Eddie Long did. And that was his boy.
Hitler and Nazis.
Read between the lines.
At the United Jewish Appeal Federation of New York. Van Jones apologized to the Jewish community for the silence of my community, allowing an African American icon praising Hitler and Nazis, and we act like we don't know where that hatred came from. reported by.
We act like we don't give a damn about what they went through because they don't give a damn about 400 years of slavery, 400 years of Jim Crow, 400 years of oppression. They don't even care about owning all the industries that deal death to our community. So why should we care because one man offended them? This timeliness is coming too dangerous. Black people, we can't afford these people no more. They have undermined the church and God. They've undermined the community. They have sold us out to the enemy. Period. Stephen A. Smith is another one. Shaq, the biggest, blackest thing in this country, bowing down and throwing Kyrie under the bus. Look at these people. Stop worshiping these celebrities. Because guess what? New black media on YouTube gonna get them together.
Silence is over, Jones said. We feel awful as long as we're turning against each other, Jones said.
We do not feel awful. Nobody in my household feels awful. Nobody that I know feels awful. Nobody that I come in contact with every day feels awful. No relatives that I have that live in Georgia feels awful. No relative that I have that live in Chicago feels awful. No black person that I know feels awful about what he said about those people who have been exploiting us and using us and enslaving us for centuries. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. And it's so easy for them to come in there and say that, not Van Jones, this other joker, Jamal Bryant, he said that Jesus was pro-choice. I'm under the influence that Jesus said, suffer unto me the children, don't hurt any of them in utero or outside the body. Then Jesus also said that his father's house had been turned into a den of thieves. The money changers have taken over the temple. And they're showing it. And I'm telling you, these people are doing everything they can to make you unworthy or acceptable to God. You already don't know your identity. You already don't know what your connection to religion really is. You don't even understand that there's no J's in the Aramaic language. The first slave ship that came to this country was the Jesus of Lubbock that was owned by the West Indian Trading Company that was owned by those people's organizations. You still cling to their doctrine. You still cling. It's like, for real, it's almost like a lot of y'all love the devil and hate God because you ignore the truth. And it's crazy. Why would this joker go apologize for the whole black community? Who is he crying all the time?
Awful, but when we come together, we're awesome. And we're going to be awesome together. The reason this country is a democracy at all is because Black and Jewish people have loved each other and helped each other.
Damn lie. I got to stop on him.
And stood up.
I got to go somewhere else. I got to stop on him. He said the reason this country is together is because Black people and Jewish people have loved each other and supported each other, as if he doesn't know that they financed the slave trade and Chase Manhattan Bank gave the farmers in the South that was lynching and destroying us loans against our bodies as collateral for centuries. These people, how do they love us when they are the ones who financed and orchestrated the slave trade along with their European Anglo-Saxon friends? Okay, we're gonna get off this. I'm gonna go to Umar, because I'm gonna let Umar handle this because he handles this good. And when I disagree with Umar, I disagree with him. But he on point with this. He on point today. He done came around. He done got fed up. Everybody got fed up with these times, these sellouts. They betraying the general aspirations of Black people.
Because something had happened 5 days prior at another school. So this was just par for the course. They was going around trying to prevent integration at all the schools in the area. So Jerry is just making it up. Jerry Jones faced it. Smith said that the intent of the people out there were Jerry Jones isn't lying.
Yes, but you still tore him down. You tore him down. Yes, you did. And according to Stephen A. Smith, because Jerry Jones was 14 years old at the time of his racist act, according to unlicensed defense attorney for white celebrities, Stephen A. Smith, according to unlicensed defense attorney for white celebrities Stephen A. Smith. According to unlicensed defense attorney for white celebrities Stephen A. Smith Esquire. According to Stephen A. Smith Esquire, since Jerry Jones was only 14, he's supposed to get a pass because according to Stephen A. Smith Esquire, there's a statute on limitations for being held accountable for racism against Black people. According to Stephen A. Smith Esquire, there's a statute of limitations on white people for committing acts of racism against Black people. Stephen A. says since he was only 14, Stephen A. says since he was only 14, Stephen A. says since he was only 14 and it was 65 years ago, he should not be questioned. Stephen A. Smith said, full immunity for old Krusty. Stephen A. Smith Esquire said, full immunity for old Krusty. And because he was 14 and because it was 65 years ago, Stephen A. Smith says, I don't appreciate this for Jerry Jones. He hurts for Jerry Jones. Stephen A. Smith feels bad for Jerry Jones. He don't feel bad because he never hired a Black coach. He don't feel bad because he never took a stand up against racism. He don't feel bad because he's not doing nothing about the state of Texas passing a law making it illegal to teach Black children about slavery or racism. He don't feel bad about that. He feels bad that Black people would dare hold old Krusty responsible for his role in preventing school desegregation in the state of Arkansas. And then we have to go to Michael Irvin. Now, where this buffoon came from, and see, I was a Michael Irvin fan. I was not a Cowboys fan. I was a Michael Irvin fan. I was a Michael Irvin fan. And I don't know
What you're seeing, what I'm showing you in these excerpts, you're seeing a chronological scenario of how celebrities are selling the community and Black people out for the bag. They're apologizing for the Black community, but nobody's apologizing to us for racism, for the Tuskegee experiment, for exploitation, for redlining, for experimenting on fetuses, for torture, lynching, the injustice criminal system. And these so-called representatives of our community is apologizing for us, making us look weak while we're still being slaughtered. It's insane.
what it is with richly melanated Black males. I don't know what it is with richly melanated Black males, but the Michael Irvins, the Shaquille Uncles Sambo O'Neal, the Shannon Snow Bunny Sharps. I don't know what it is about the darkest of African men that brings out the most buffoonery. What is it about the more melanated? The more melanated we are, the more buffoonery we like to get engaged in. So let me quote Michael Irvin. Let me quote Hall of Famer Michael Irvin, who said, quote, I know him to be a righteous man and a very good man. Michael Irvin said, I know Jerry Jones to be a righteous man and a very good man. I know Jerry Jones to be a righteous man and a very good man. This is what Michael Irvin said. Then he said, quote, everybody in the South was a certain way back in those days. This is Michael Irvin. Everybody in the South was a certain way back in those days.
Racist.
Everybody in the South was a certain way back in those days. So according to Michael Irvin, since most white people were racist in 67, according to Michael Irvin, Since most white people were racist in 1967, Jerry Jones should get a pass. Michael Irvin, Esquire, Stephen A. Smith, Esquire. So Michael says, quote, so Michael Irvin in defense of old crusty Jerry Jones. Michael Irvin in defense of old crusty Jerry Jones says, his face don't look like he was there for battle. Michael Irvin is now a master psychologist who can read the intent of people by their facial expressions on pictures. I said, Michael Irvin Esquire, unlicensed defense attorney for Old Crusty, can now read facial expressions.
Let me stop here. They get the picture, Dr. Umar. They get the picture. Our very survival depends on boycotting and canceling these sellouts. Like, share, and subscribe. Signing out Detroit. Like and share the video. Peace.